He's here, boys. Thad, we've got the legend, the newest Sporting Kansas City Legends inductee, Benny Feilhaber, is with us. Thad, how are you feeling about this?
You know I've always loved Benny. Although, can we say he's official until his name's up on the wall?
He's an inductee. I said inductee, right? Isn't that accurate?
I don't know. Not official, right? That
I would say not quite official till the name's up on the wall, man. Sorry.
The best.
I say give it to him.
The best Sporting Kansas City player we have ever had is joining us. I said it. That's right. I said it. So, Benny, thank you very much for being here.
The question is, who else have you had then? And when you say that, Cody?
Okay, well, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But you're the best we've ever had on the show. I'll say that.
All right.
Hey, we've had two other sporting legends on this show.
Who are they?
And I complained to some of them that the requirements for sporting legends are a little too lax. But it is very deserving. I question that about Jimmy Conrad, but this one is very deserving. So, Benny, I know a lot of people like to be humble in their retirement age like this, but I know the kind of guy you are. You worked very hard at your career, and this has to feel good to be recognized by the club like this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no club that I would say that about other than Sporting. Obviously, I played here for almost 6 seasons. I've worked here after my post-playing career. This is my 5th year now as a coach of some sort. So, I mean, I've been over a decade at this organization, and I know that as a player was where I had my best games, my best years.
Best hair.
Ooh, best hair. Yeah, well, the mullet for the one game was pretty special and lives in infamy. So
it does.
But yeah, we won obviously championships while we were here. And then there's the off the field stuff too, where my family grew up here, right? Like I married my wife the month before I moved to Kansas City in 2013. My 2 daughters were born here. Luca's grown up here. He was born in Colorado a month before we came back here in 2019. And so he's grown up here his entire life. We love Kansas City. And so the city, the fans, the organization, obviously I've known Peter for a really long time, ever since I went on the under 20s. So 20 years ago at this point. So, a lot of pieces of this organization are part of who I am. So yeah, of course it means something to give as much as I did to this community and this organization, and how much they provided for me and supported me along the years as well. It does mean a lot to be recognized in this kind of way.
Hey, Benny, I know that all the sporting legends donate some artifact to be kept or recognized in some layer of the stadium down there that they never allow me into. Do you know what you're going to donate? And do you have like a bin of just really old smelly shoes laying around so you can do that?
No, I'm wondering if somebody made a wig out of that hair that after I chopped it off. That would be like the way to go.
I think David actually has that in his office.
That's right. I collected it.
I don't know about these.
No one's reached out to me yet about an artifact, so this is the first I've heard of it.
Is Thad just making this up?
No, actually, I've got a list of it over here pulled up, man.
Yeah, let me hear some of these other artifacts.
A polo by Bob Gansler, a pair of game-worn gloves from Yola, cleats from Preki.
Those are pretty good, I'm not going to lie.
I don't think I have any game-worn cleats anymore, unless somebody saved them from back in the day.
Maybe the Klinsmann jersey.
Mo Johnston gave his 2000 MLS Cup championship ring. I think that shows how much he cared about it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either. That's up on my that's on one of my man or whatever. What do you call it? Like
above the fireplace.
Yeah, I put my jersey and the picture and like a portrait, not a portrait, but what's it called? Framed, I guess.
Yeah.
It's up in my office. So I have that jersey, the Open Cup, 2 Open Cups, and then 3 national team jerseys. And so I'm definitely not breaking into that thing and taking the ring off. So
no,
that ain't happening.
Can you use the ring when you're recruiting players to SKT too? Is it like in college where like the Coach K shows up with like a fistful of rings and you're like,
no, because I don't even have my ring with me. It's unless I bring them into my house.
This might be the missing piece for recruitment is like you can, go reach out to a player and be like, look, you get an opportunity to play and develop and maybe go to the first team and also check out this bad boy.
I'd be surprised if that even works in college anymore with the NIL now.
Yeah.
Oh, very true.
All right, I have compiled the definitive top 5 Benny Feilhaber moments and memories. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
I've got a couple OLIs, outside looking ins. Okay, this one is very outside looking in, but everyone needs to remember this: that Landon Donovan stole from you the greatest moment in U.S. men's national team history. No one remembers that goal against Algeria, where he tapped it in at the end. Go USA from Ian Dark. Great call, all of that. But Benny Feilhaber was right there, right behind it. Who says he doesn't track back?
I would say that you're incorrect on that, and the difference between me and Landon is the fact that he was willing to run 10 extra yards where I was a little bit behind him, or else I would have gotten to that ball. I could have if I just ran faster than him, but that's why he's Landon and I'm me.
See, if you had come to Kansas City and played under Vermees before this, then maybe he would have drilled that into you.
I would have been Sporting fit at that point. That's right.
Another one of his personal favorite memory. Sporting KC had a big win. You had multiple assists, but then after the game, you were asking the scorers and everyone in the media room for a third assist that you did not get credited for. And I wouldn't be surprised if you actually remember this, because you were...
New England?
Yes, I think that it was New England, because then later in that year, you were like one off from the assist lead or something that season.
Yeah, Maidana got it from Philly. Yeah, right. But I got that assist. That was the 4-2 game against New England. Jake Peterson scored the goal, and I passed the ball. No one touched it. Jake scored on it, and they decided not to give it to me at first, and I had to complain to Rob Thompson to make sure that he was able to do it. And back in the day, you could actually have that conversation with I don't think you could do that anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Now it's the Messi rule, though. Like,
right.
Whatever Messi, if Messi gets an assist, that's the new rule now. It used to be, I forget, maybe like Landon used to get some iffy ones back in the day too. So I would always try and find a similar one to Landon, and then, hey, look, if he got this one.
Okay, another outside looking in. This is a combined one of the goal scorer, the shrug, the Benny shrug, the Selly, and then the left leg point, which was a hilarious goal. It was, you just had no other choice but to swing your left foot at it, and you surprised yourself. Look what I had done. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, another question. The standard soccer celly, the jump and then the pause and then the fist pump. That's the standard soccer celly. Everyone has their own little unique thing they add to it. And I know sometimes you it wasn't a fist. You like did a slice with the hand.
Don't know why. That was a Salt Lake goal. I remember that.
Oh, you do? Look at this.
But we lost that game, I think, 2-1. But yeah, that was a good goal. And I don't know, it
just came out. It was natural.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those that just happens.
Okay, and then the last OLI, wearing the Jurgen Klinsmann jersey on Jersey Day. Just watched that video again. Beautiful thing. And it was like a youth small or something. It was way too small.
Youth large. Youth small, I wouldn't have fit into a youth.
Yeah, this is my favorite one. This is my absolute favorite one.
Yes, classic Benny moment. Okay.
Jurgen just got fired from South Korea.
He did.
Ooh. You track him now?
I mean, I saw it on Twitter. I forgot that he was there. I do remember reading that he got that job. I don't know how long ago.
Yeah.
But then I think it came up like on ESPN News, like one of those just like things that pop up on your phone. But it was pretty funny. Some of the things that South Korean, whoever said about him, right? Said that he basically had nothing right there.
Jurgen is one of those guys, like, I think we all like hate watching that career. Like it is worthy news when he gets fired. Like we all want to check in, and we're happy to see that, I think. Okay, number 5, Benny Feilhaber moment in memory. The quote of, "I never liked Salt Lake. Too many teams."
Is that my quote?
What'd you say?
Was that my actual quote?
Yes, it was longer than that, but that was the beginning of it. "I never liked Salt Lake. I don't like playing against them." You said all of that. And it was at a time when not enough people did that. We didn't have that in the league. And Sporting KC players were always very media trained and robotic and never said anything to get them in trouble. I loved it. We didn't have a rivalry. That built one, and Benny was at the center of it.
Yeah, I think Peter still is pissed off about that one.
Number 4, the 2007 Gold Cup winner over Mexico.
Number 4?
Yeah, it's a good list, Benny. That's number 4.
Yeah, I'm curious what the top 3 are.
Does that mean that's like number 1 in your look back of your career?
I mean, singular moments
Yeah.
of like feelings. Yes, that's got to be number 1. I mean, scoring the game winner against your biggest international rival in a final of that and that caliber of a goal. Yeah, I think that's probably number 1.
Worldy.
It's crazy because that was my second year as a pro only, so I peaked too early.
That was a golazo, though. I mean, that was just a rocket.
Yeah.
No, you would have peaked those years with Sporting if Jurgen wasn't blocking you out. Those more goals like that would have come.
Possible.
And you're not going to like the rest of these if you didn't like that one. Number 3, the Benny Feilhaber show.
Okay.
Can't beat that. Sal with the glasses. Personality that we didn't have on the team for a long time. Classic.
Keyboard Sal. Well, Sal still tries.
Yeah, you said Sal likes
We have a BSI thread with me, Sal, Ike, and Nino, Sal's brother, who produced it. But Sal still wants to do it because he's doing real estate and he's probably bored out of his mind.
Yeah.
He wants to do it, but me and Ike, I don't know if we have the time at this point.
Yeah, you're coaching an entire team, so that would make sense. Number 2, the KC mullet, the aforementioned KC mullet. That doesn't get any better than that. When I think of Benny Feilhaber's career, I think of that. I think of the hair. Didn't you score a goal in that game?
No, I didn't. I played pretty well in that game, but I didn't score a goal.
Okay, well, you had the feathered. Maybe the KC mullet was one game, but you had long flowing hair for at least several.
I had a little
games.
bit of a mop top. I remember the game against Houston on the road, the one that we tied 4-4. I had a big, fro going that game, but not the mullet. The mullet we won. We beat Chicago 1-0. Naga scored on a header.
What did your wife think of that mullet?
She was okay with it. It was one day. You guys realize that, right? It was.
It feels bigger than that.
We built up like the pot. Whoever paid more there was like 3 options, and whoever built the pot more for whatever haircut is the one I got, and I obviously wore it. I got it the day before. I wore it for the Chicago game, and then I got rid of it after the next day or whatever. So it was for one day. My wife didn't cause too much of a fuss.
What about the mustache? Because you very famously have had multiple mustaches.
Yeah, usually that was like on a playoff run, and obviously the MLS Cup 2013, I had it the whole way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is like semi-famous, but I don't even think I've had a mustache that often.
It was that good, though.
I guess. I mean, one of my good buddies, Sasha Kleshin, right? He's always
hell of a stash.
So I always crush him on that. But every once in a while, I've tried to, idolize him in that sense and copycat him. So, but yeah, it's not too often that I bring back the mustache, but I also sometimes just get lazy and let the beard and the mustache grow out. But yeah, I guess it's become its own little version of something famous.
Speaking of that 2013 MLS Cup run, the number 1 Benny Feilhaber moment is the pass to Dwyer versus Houston.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Thad and I bring this goal up like at least once every 6 months. I don't know why, it lives in our memory. That goal for me got Sporting Kansas City over the hump. After that goal, the MLS Cup was in the bag. I think Houston had eliminated Sporting the 2 previous seasons, or 2 of the last 3 seasons, or something like that. And that got them over the hump, and it felt like it was on after that.
Yeah, well, neither me nor Dom played in those games prior, so maybe we were immune to the Houston whatever, right, and the curse. And so, but that whole goal, right, the build out, the Zeus, the runs off the ball. I think Naga played it to Zeus. Zeus played it to me or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then obviously Dom, arguably the most clinical and composed finish he had in his entire time at Kansas City as well. So he made the pass look that much better. So it was good entire team goal.
And it wasn't just that play. That was the first year you had arrived, and there were times you weren't even on the field the whole time, and Vermees was wanting you to get Sporting fit and all of that. And it was that was the moment it all came together. And it was like, oh shit, this is our team. No one is going to stop them now.
Right. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
I love that smile every time Sporting fit is mentioned, Benny.
You're the one smiling.
Fair enough.
Benny loves to run. We all know this about Benny. He loves to run.
It still brings up the fact that I used to have a Nike shirt back in the day that said, I hate running. Or no, it wasn't I hate running. It wasn't I hate running. That's what he says it is. Remember you always used to wear that shirt that said, I hate running? I'm like, that's not what it said. It said, running sucks. That's what
So, Benny, you played Division I soccer. You played in Germany. You played in what you called the Prem. MLS. You played internationally. You capped internationally. Who's the best player you ever played against?
Against? Messi.
Against.
It's not even close. I played Messi against Messi. I mean, Peter will tell you this story too, but we played Argentina in the first game of the Under-20 World Cup. And Messi was not a household name, obviously not worldwide. And he was like starting to, I mean, like obviously Barcelona knew that he was good. He was there and he had played, I think, a few, I want to say, maybe first team games, but mostly second team games. And then he went to the Under-20 World Cup and not many people knew of him. And he played in that game. We won, but I almost like quote unquote tried to man mark him that game. And if you can even go see highlights of, if you go look at Messi highlights in the Under-20s, you'll undoubtedly see him dribbling me at some point. But I remember telling, my best friend, hey, the guy that I just played against is going to be the best player of all time. And, my buddy's thinking like, whatever, right? Like, but I mean, I genuinely believe that. What he did and he only played 45 minutes. He only came in the second half. What he did in that game for 45 minutes, I had never seen anyone do ever in any game that I'd watched or played or anything that resembling it. And obviously, I mean, like now we all know what he is, but Messi is incomparable. So
I didn't know that. See, I learned something today that you'd played against Messi. Well done. And that you predicted his rise.
Who's second? Because that Messi's boring. That's a boring answer. Who's second?
Second. I mean, I know the best player that I played with. That's a more interesting answer, which is Rafael van der Vaart. I played with him in Hamburg.
Oh, wow.
And he was at a different level at that point. I mean, he was fantastic. His time in Hamburg was probably where he played the best soccer in his career. And the funny thing is he was unathletic, a little bit fat almost and slow, but his left foot was just godly almost at that point where it was just, he could put it anywhere he wanted. He could shoot from anywhere. He used his body really well and pop up in really good spots. So he was the best player that I've ever played with at any period of time. I mean, I'm trying to think of anybody
Van der Vaart,
else.
that's a great shout. That's a great answer.
If I think of somebody that I played against that really,
Give me an MLS player. How about that? Best MLS player you played against.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are gonna like this answer, but Dax McCarty was always the guy that
Wow.
man, it was tough playing against him. He always seemed to know what I wanted to do with the ball, where I wanted to go. He could like read my movements before I did them. I've said this before in interviews that he was always a guy that was very tough to play against.
Yeah.
And we matched up against each other, right? Him as a defensive midfielder, me an offensive midfielder. So he's very intelligent. Just, I mean, there's a reason why he's still playing at age,
Yeah.
what is he, 37, 38 at this point. So, he was fun to play against. And I think we brought the best in each other when we played against each other.
Good. A ginger.
That's a great shout.
A ginger got a shout. I love that.
That's right.
That's Dax McCarty's such an MLS guy,
Yes.
but like a really, really good MLS player.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Underrated as well.
Great
Yeah.
shout.
Always liked him, but always hated him at the same time.
That's how you know he was good. Though he was doing
Yeah.
his job. Then.
True.
Honestly, I kind of hated Benny before he came to Kansas City too. So
Thank you.
yeah, hey, at least I'm honest, man. Hey, as you keep growing on your coaching journey, and I know that you try to match up with Sporting's style of play and all that, but how close is that to, if you just had free reign, how close is that to how you would just coach a team?
Man, that's a tough question, just because I think in general, when you're in charge of a first team, it's so important to find a system that fits the players that you have. So I don't think I'm married to any system. I think that there's probably a lot of things that I would try and do similarly. We've obviously tried to build the second team with players that would, in a pinch, fit with the first team, right? And so if you were to talk to Peter about guys that he brings into his system, he wants guys that fit the 4-3-3 system and the way that we want to play. And so most of the guys in the second team to some extent are like that as well, although we don't have, the ability to be as precise and detailed. I think that with, complete reign, there's probably some changes inevitably. And I can't even tell you if we would play exactly the 4-3-3 or if we would flip between 4-3-3 and something else. But I do like a lot of the ideas that come out of a 4-3-3. Like our team last year with the second team, no doubt that I would play the 4-3-3 more often because we had outside backs that were very good getting up and down the field, that were their ability to kind of get up the field and provide, man advantages, 2v1s and service into the box, kind of like, Zusi used to do in our heyday as a right back coming forward. So I think we would definitely want to play a 4-3-3 last year. I think this year just depends kind of how the team goes. But I think for the most part, it would look similar because of the players that we've tried to get. But I'm a pretty firm believer that you got to play the formation that fits, that puts your players in the best position to succeed.
We've talked with you about that dynamic before of what it's like coaching a feeder team, a second team. And, Mark Dos Santos left because he wanted to be in full control and didn't like that aspect of the job. Do you have any urge like that as you continue to grow as a coach? Do you have an urge to go be in full control of a team somewhere?
Yeah, of course. Or else I don't know why you'd be doing this job. I tell this to the players on our team, right? At the beginning of the season, I ask them, how many of you guys want to be here on the second team in 2 years from now? And if anybody raises their hands, we got a problem because this is a stepping stone, right? We either want to be here to promote you to the first team, or we want to be here to help you go play at a higher level somewhere else if it's not at our first team. But you shouldn't want to play on the second team for 2, 3, 4 years in a row, right? Maybe an academy kid that's still developing, but for the most part, you want those players to go. And I think as a coach, it's the same thing. You don't want to coach the second team for your entire career, or else you're probably not very motivated to be a coach. And for me, I want to become an MLS head coach one day, right? And whatever the story comes after that, I don't even know what it looks like, but that would be my goal. And of course, I think you get a lot of experience in this job, being able to do the job without as much pressure as a first team head coach, where you're kind of like learning, you're experimenting, you're realizing what works and what doesn't work. But yeah, of course, in the grand scheme of things, I really want to become a head coach of a first team one day.
Kind of going even past that, I mean, I knew that you'd want to be the coach of the first team, a first team at some point. But even just going past that, would you ever want to be a national team coach? And would that be kind of a little bit of ultimate revenge on the former South Korean coach?
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think revenge is a weird thing, right? I think it's like one of those things that you feel when it's actually happening, you want that. But as time goes by, it kind of like falls by the wayside. So definitely not because of revenge. But being the national team head coach one day, I mean, it's not that I've actively thought about that, but it's kind of one of those things, kind of like playing on the national team, where when you're playing in college, all you want to do is try and make it pro. Once you become a pro, you just want to start for the team that you're on. Once you're starting for the team that you're on, you want to probably try and get to a better team and make more money. Once you're one of the better players in your country, now you're thinking about how can I get to the national team? And I think that's kind of like how I think as a coach, right? Like right now, I'm trying to absorb as much as I possibly can in an environment that, like I said, is not gung-ho on winning and there's not that much pressure. It's like, how can I become a better coach? How can I learn? How can I understand, situations? How do I coach better during game days? How do I learn from Peter and how he does things? How do I learn through my own experiences? And then, kind of have a better coaching portfolio, so to speak. So I have more tools when I get to a higher level. And then if I do get to a higher level and then I start learning and getting better at that, and I consider myself, maybe one of the better head coaches in the league or whatever, if that ever comes to fruition, then the possibility of becoming a national team head coach, I think is a goal that is far, far out away in the stars right now, right? But sure, I think that's always a possibility.
That he's a better man than us. He doesn't hold a grudge over years like we do.
Yeah, well, revenge may have been the wrong way to say it, but maybe Schadenfreude? How do you say that?
Schadenfreude. Schaden is pity, isn't it? What is Schadenfreude exactly? I mean, I know German, but
It's like a word where you're just enjoying the other person's loss at that point. I think you've already experienced a little bit of that today, honestly.
got it.
So, Benny, we were talking about Messi a little bit earlier. He's in the league now. This question has kind of divided our show even. Just about all of the Messi mania. Are they covering him too much? Are they covering him the right way? Are they capitalizing on all the new eyes into the league? What do you make of all the Messi mania right now in MLS?
I mean, I don't know if I don't just like accept it. Like it is what it is, right? He's the best player in the world. He's the best player in our league as much as, he's at the end of his career. And so I mean, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but, my best friend and my wife that watch MLS a lot and they see Messi and like some of the absurd things that he still does. And I tell him, I'm like, but it's crazy because I watched him when he was at his peak and arguably on the best team of all time, which is Barcelona around that 2010 era or whatever. And the things that he could do then was just so absurd. I mean, it doesn't even come close. Like he ran the entire game, right? Like, right. He now you watch him and he's walking 85% of the time. And he never did that as a player in Barcelona, right? He wasn't even the superstar at that point where it was like Ronaldinho and Eto'o and Henry and Xavi and Iniesta. And Messi was just like one of the young kids that was superior. But anyways, tangent. But he's the best player of all time, in my opinion. So I think you do have to try and utilize what's that? Is he not the best player of all time?
I was hoping you would be on my as a Brazilian.
Yes.
I was hoping you would say Pelé. Because to me, it is always and forever Pelé.
That's the problem with people that think that. It doesn't matter if God himself comes down and starts playing soccer. People are going to be like, no, Pelé is the best. Where, sure, I didn't watch Pelé live, so I can't talk about that. But I've seen videos of him. I've seen what he could do. And no one other than Maradona has ever looked like Messi. Messi does stuff. He's an alien. He looks like an alien in his peak. Go look at his highlights from 2010 to 2013 in Barcelona. No one in the history of the game has ever played the game like he has. It's not. I don't even think it's close personally. But anyways, going back, I think you have to. The league has to utilize as much as they can of what Messi is and Messi mania as much as they can to promote the league and get more people watching the game. And I mean, I think the good thing is that Miami is actually doing well because it would be a shame if they bring Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba, and then they're losing, right? Because then it's very quick to lose its whatever, the flavor, right? The that they're trying to provide. So, but yeah, I think it is what it is. I think sometimes it's a little bit overboard, but it's expected at this point.
That is the greatest moment of this show's history for me, where David had to sit and listen to a Brazilian say Messi is the greatest player of all time, and he does not get a follow-up on that. Thad, go to the next question.
We're gonna edit that out. We gotta edit that out.
Oh man, yeah, that's a lot of fun watching David be so upset.
Benny, I don't know if you realize how heartbroken I am in this moment.
I'm sorry.
I do have I have a follow-up question, kind of marrying the two conversations we just had about coaching and then also how creative Messi is. You were a creative midfielder. Messi's arguably the most creative player of all time. It's tough to disagree with that. Is that something that you can coach into people? I mean, some of the things he does, I think, are just intuitive and uncoachable. But, you talked once about learning from Ike that playing a pass like waist height is so hard for defenders to defend against.
How are you getting credit for this stuff?
You said it.
No, Cody swears all the time on the show.
We still remember it.
I'm gonna go find the recording of this. I bet I have it somewhere on the computer.
I decided that he came up with the scoop pass.
No, I decided to tell you that the scoop pass is difficult.
As the story
They said
goes.
that my best moment of my career was the pass that I gave to Dom against Houston. And so you get credit for that?
Yes, because I was telling you
in
that
2013.
All year.
You told me in 2013.
You never missed this history. You're making things up.
Is that something that?
No,
It was
no.
an agreement.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
All right, go ahead with your question.
Is it challenging, or is it, how do you teach creativity like that?
I don't think I haven't gotten to the point where I'm teaching creativity to that extent where you're looking for certain passes or like types of passes, right? I think that the best thing that you can do, look, I think that there's different levels of coaching and different levels of playing as well. And I think that where we're at right now, the developmental area of like, you're not going into the nitty gritty of, man, can you see this pass at this moment, right? You're trying to like help guys find space, find the right pockets, be in better spots so that they have a little bit better chance to receive a ball, face forward, and analyze the field. And I think those are the things that we really try and work on with obviously younger guys at the beginning of their career. They're not final products yet, right? And I think that those details might come when you're playing with final product players, right? If you're a coach of a first team and you have a guy, like Johnny Russell, let's say, that has that creativity, has the ability to dribble and create some openings, can you now give them those, 0.5% kind of things to make them go from whatever they are to like 0.5% better, right? I think that's, and we're not there at our level. We're trying to get more of like can we get them from 65% to 70% better, right? It's a bigger increase, but more broad strokes as opposed to like the fine tuning of little things. And so, I wouldn't say that I've really worked on that kind of creativity. We let them have the creativity that they have, but we try and hopefully put them in better spots and see the games in different ways so that they can kind of, allow themselves to be better versions of themselves and hopefully play at a rate where they find more success than where they are now, and maybe they don't see some of the things that we're trying to teach them.
Benny, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I love hearing you talk so in depth about the X's and O's of coaching. I've loved watching this new stage of your career as you grow into coaching. So thank you for all of the serious soccer talk. But before we let you out of here, David is insistent on playing a ridiculous game with you.
So I think you've heard of the game Plead the Fifth before. You have some familiarity with this?
I'm going to have to pay for Ike's inventions now.
You went to UCLA. You're a UCLA Bruin, one of the most storied college programs of all time.
Yep.
Rank the top 5 UCLA Bruins.
Top 5 UCLA Bruins.
Is this just like any sport?
No, this is UCLA soccer.
Oh,
they've got famous, guys like Nick Raimondo, Sal Zizzo, Jonathan Bornstein, Bocanegra. There's all sorts of players.
All right, let me think here. We haven't won a championship in a bit, so it's going to be hard for any of the young, like anybody my age. That we won the year before I got there, so anybody my age hasn't won one. So I will say number 5. I will say Zach Wells. You know who that is?
Nope.
Didn't make it in the league. Was our goalie for 4 or 5 seasons.
No way.
Didn't make it into the league. This is a weak list.
Yeah, my God, our goalie Darren's losing his mind over here because I put a goalie on our. We were the year before I got there. We were a very good defensive team. My freshman year, we were as well, and he won a championship. So I'm going to say Zach Wells, number 5. They're saying I lost it over here because I put a goalie.
Yes, I agree with them.
But I put him at 5.
Goalies can only be
We'll take who we can get.
I might actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if I put Zach Wells at number 5, I might have to put Brad Friedel and Nick Raimondo in there
I was
as
going to
well.
say, of all the goalies, you chose Zach Wells.
Well, I played with him. So
Nick Raimondo was on that list, and you went with a guy that never made it into the league.
that's right. Well, we're talking, I guess, can I start over?
Yes.
Am I allowed to start over?
Yes.
Because I have to ask a follow-up question. Is it based on their UCLA career, or is it based on their entire career?
It's your list. Whatever you hear when you hear top 5 Bruins.
Ooh.
As long as you don't plead the 5th, I don't think it matters how you decide.
Okay, I'm gonna take Zach Wells out of it then, because I'm gonna go then with a broader list, or else nobody's gonna know any.
We shamed him.
I like that list.
I will go with a goalie. We'll stick with a goalie. We'll go with Nick Raimondo at 5.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go with Carlos Bocanegra at 4.
Ooh, good one.
We will go with my buddy Matt Taylor at 3.
This is a good list.
Matt Taylor was at Kansas City. You guys know Matt Taylor. I'm sure I'm missing guys, right? But Matt Taylor at 3. We'll go with Jimmy Conrad at 2.
Ooh, Jimmy gets the. Jimmy gets
And we
the
will
audio.
go with Ziggy Schmidt at number 1.
All right. Good list. You're
Wow.
you're officially part
Good
of the
list.
show now that you've done a top 5 list on it. So
Good list. No Kobe Jones. No Sal.
I mean, I knew I was gonna. No, Sal doesn't deserve it. Kobe Jones. Now that there's so many big names that went there. Kobe Jones obviously probably deserved to be there, but for Darren's sake, I got to throw Nick Raimondo in there. So
as much as I don't like to say it, Nick Raimondo probably deserves to be on the list.
Nick Raimondo, newly appointed Real Salt Lake Monarchs goalie coach.
Oh, didn't know that. Dropping news.
We'll see him this year, twice, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
All right, Benny. Thank you very much for joining, and congratulations on the inductee. And what is it? It's August, sometime in August, right? We got some time to
24th.
bask in the glory.
August 24th.
All right.
Go home and work on your artifact.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, nobody's told me yet, but I'll try and figure that out.
Thanks, Benny.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.